श्री गुरु गौरांगधार गिरिधारी श्री श्री राधा विनोद बिहारी जू की जय। श्री गोविंद गोपीनाथ मरन मोहन जू की जय। नित्यानंद प्रविष्टम विष्णुपार शतर शत शिमार भक्ति वेदांत नारायण गोसाई महाराज श्री गुरुदेव की जय। नित्यानंद प्रविष्टम विष्णुपार शतर शत शिमार भक्ति वेदांत वामन गोसाई महाराज की जय। नित्यानंद प्रविष्टम विष्णुपार शतर शत शिमार भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी महाराज श्री प्रभुपाद की जय। नित्यानंद प्रविष्टम विष्णुपार शतर शत शिमार भक्ति प्रज्ञान केशव गोसाई महाराज की जय। नित्यानंद प्रविष्टम विष्णुपार शतर शत शिमार भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोसाई प्रभुपाद की जय। नित्यानंद प्रविष्ट महाभगवत श्री गौरीश्वरदास बाबाजी महाराज की जय। नित्यानंद प्रविष्ट श्री सच्चिदानंद भक्ति विनोद ठाकुर की जय। नित्यानंद प्रविष्ट वैष्णव सार्वभौम श्री जगन्नाथ दास बाबाजी महाराज की जय। श्री रूपानुकूर्य गुरु वर्ग की जय। श्री रूप सनातन भट्ट रघुनाथ श्री जीव गोपाल भट्टदास रघुनाथ शारद गोसाई प्रभु की जय। श्री स्वरूप दामोदर राय रामानंदारी श्री गौर पार्षद वृंद की जय। नाम जय श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासरी गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री क्षेत्र मंडल गौरमंडल ब्रजमंडल मथुर वृंदावन धाम की जय। सर्व अभिष्ट प्रदत्त गिरिराज महाराज की जय। श्री राधा कुंड श्याम कुंड की जय। श्री यमुना देवी गंगा देवी की जय। श्री तुलसी महारानी वृंद देवी की जय। श्री भक्ति देवी की जय। श्री पूर्णमासी योग माय की जय। श्री गोपेश्वर महादेव की जय। श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव जय। श्री नरहरि सरकार ठाकुर की जय। जय। His Śrī Kṛṣṇa Bhajanāmṛta ki jai. Jai. Śrīla Bhaktivinoda Ṭhākura's commentary on, what is it called? Just looking it up. It is the Āsvāda-vistāriṇī Bhāṣya ki jai. Jai Śrīla Satchidananda Bhaktivinoda Ṭhākura ki jai. Jai Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Samagata Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Shinitai Gaur. Oh wait, today is also Jai Nityalala Pravishta Shishimad Bhakti Hriday Ban Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Tadya Shubha Avirbhav Titi ki jai. Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Samagata Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Shinitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bo. You'll do the Mangala Charan and then begin. Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Guruve Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namaha. Shri Siddhanta Saraswati Tividito Goriya Gurvanvaye Bhato Bhanuriva Prabhata Gagane Yogora Sankirtanai Maya Bharati Mingilo Daragatan Udhritya Jiva Niman Krishna Prema Sudabdi Gahana Sukham Pradat Prabhung Tang Bhaje Vande Bhakti Vinodang Shri Gaura Shakti Swarupakam Bhakti Shastragya Samrajang Radharasa Sudha Nidhim Namo Bhakti Vinodaya Satchidananda Namine Gaura Shakti Swarupaya Rupanugavarayate Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Svapadantikam Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Vrishabhanusutanvitavamatanu Yamunattatanaгаранандасутам Murali Kalagita Vinoraparang Bhaja Godrumakanana Kunjavidum Smara Gaura Gadadhara Kelikalam Bhava Gaura Gadadhara Pakshachara Shrinu Gaura Gadadhara Charukatang Bhaja Godrumakanana Kunjavidum Tavai Vasmi Na Jivami Tvaya Vina Iti Vigyaya Devi Twang Nayamang Charanantikam Bhaktya Vihina Aparada Lakshai Shiptashtakama Dittaranga Madhe Kripa Mai Tvam Sharanam Prapanna Vrinde Namaste Charana Ravindam Bhaja Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam. Once again, let's see who's there. Haribo Nandi Rani Didi, Rukmini Didi, Prajumna Prabhu, Mantaramurti Mataji, Vidyalalasa Didi, and whoever else is there on YouTube and Facebook. If you write a comment, I'll see your name. I'm guessing Indira Mataji and Raseshwari Mataji are there, and my brother Krishna Murari maybe. Anyhow, Dandavat pranams to everybody there. And also pranams to all the devotees watching in the future. So our reading today, yesterday, we began this book, Śrī Kṛṣṇa Bhajanāmṛtam by Śrī Narahari Sarakāra Ṭhākura, the associate of Mahaprabhu. Who was he in Krishna Lila? I think was it Madhumati? Saki? I can't remember. Oh, Haribo Rohini Nandan Prabhu. Haribo. Yeah, so we began it, and the first chapter, the first was Narahari Sarakāra Ṭhākura's Mangalacharan, and then he gave a bunch of, objections that people might have, doubts that he said that he was writing this book because after Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu will become unmanifest from this world, then different doubts will start to arise in the hearts of Vaishnavas of different categories. And so he said that I'm writing this to help clear their doubts or something like that. And the first objection was, let's see. He said, in the age of Kali, only Krishna Nam is the supreme dharma. If one chants Krishna Nam without offense, then one becomes a Vaishnav and is qualitatively as good as Krishna. Thus, all those persons who chant Krishna Nam are equal Vaishnavs. Yet why do we see inferiority and inequality amongst them? Also, what is the necessity of distinguishing between them? If there is an offense made to a Vaishnav, then an offense to Krishna Nam is also committed. It's the first offense to the Krishna Nam, right? The most grievous offense. Thus, it is difficult to gradually advance in Nam Smaran and Kirtan. In this regard, it is essential that those who are engaged in Nam Bhajan know appropriate behavior towards Vaishnavas and practice it. Therefore, it is especially a part of bhajan to understand the conclusion of this first objection. And we discussed yesterday, and the song Gurudev Kripapindu Diya, Shakale Saman Korite Shakati Dehonata Jata Jata, Tabe to gaibo harinam suke aparad habe hata. What's the way to be able to chant Harinam happily? How can we get some relish for Harinam? It's when we can honor Vaishnavas, when we have, when we can honor Vaishnavas accordingly, according to their different levels. So we behave with the Kanishta Vaishnavas in one way, with the Madhyam Vaishnavas in another way, and the Uttam Vaishnavas in another way. We read about that yesterday. And so when we're able to do this, when we're able to recognize a Vaishnava and deal with them accordingly, then our offenses will go away. The most grievous offense to Harinam, and then we will get taste for chanting the holy name. That's the process. And our qualification, like and I thought a really very interesting point. Look at this. So this is how he this is the answer to this objection A. So Narahari Sarakāra Ṭhākura says, it is true that all pure Vaishnavas are equal if they chant Krishna Nam without any offense. Because if you chant Krishna Nam without any offense, then you're a pure Vaishnava, right? However, a Vaishnava is however, a Vaishnava is only as strong as the power of the name that has arisen within him. A Vaishnava is only as strong as the power of the name that has arisen within him. The power of the name is of two types. There's Swalpabal, meager strength, and Bahubal, great strength. In the case of a Kanishta Vaishnava in particular, there's very little strength in the pure name. Even though a Madhyam Vaishnava has more strength, he has less strength or middling strength compared to a Vaishnava with Bahubal. And Uttam Vaishnava possesses Bahubal, great strength. Yeah, I just thought that was so interesting, such an interesting way. Vaishnava is only as strong as the power of name that has arisen within him. Okay, and so then he says, in this world, there are two kinds of people, namely the Bahirmukh, those who are averse to Krishna, and the Antarmukh, those who are favorable to Krishna. Those who are Bahirmukh only engage in the religious principle of honoring guests, but they don't offer service to Vaishnavas. The Antarmukh is of two types, namely the Vaishnav Balagya, one who is aware of a Vaishnav's potency, and the Vaishnava Bal Anabhigya, one who does not recognize a Vaishnav's potency. And so what I understood is the Vaishnav Balagya is the Madhyam Vaishnav, and Vaishnav Bal Anabhigya is the Kanishta Vaishnav. Because the Madhyam Vaishnav is able to recognize a Vaishnav and understands how to deal with them, but Kanishta is not able to understand the potency of a Vaishnava. Those persons who are Vaishnava Balanabhigya, they become afraid simply by seeing the fierce form of materialists and foolish beggars. They do not know what a Vaishnav's potency is, or the gradations of that potency. They are unaware of a Vaishnav's potency, whether it is meager or great. These Vaishnav Bal Anabhigya, they are counted among the Kanishta devotees, who are materialistic and Vaishnav Prai. They resemble Vaishnavs. They're almost Vaishnavs, but they're materialistic. They're not Vaishnavs yet. They are initiated and they perform deity worship. However, because they cannot distinguish a devotee of Krishna from a non-devotee, they are unable to actually serve Vaishnavs. They are duty-bound to behave equally towards those who accept the garb of a Vaishnava or just any ordinary guest. If they begin discriminating, then due to ignorance, they will reject the service of pure Vaishnavas and will merely serve the general class of devotees, and in this way become degraded. Therefore, their ignorance is the equivalent of a disease. However, this is not the case with the conduct of the Vaishnav Balagya. The conduct of a transcendental of a transcendental Vaishnava, the conduct of a transcendental Vaishnava acquires special intellect through hearing philosophy and from pure Sambandha Gyan, knowledge of one's relationship with Krishna. They are wise in considering Swalpabal and Bahubal, seeing if there's meager strength in one's chanting of Nam, or if there's great strength. So if they can recognize the different levels of Vaishnava. They are experienced in considering who is very powerful and who is less powerful. They are aware in whose body how much power of Krishna is there, slight or great. One should understand this specifically according to the potency of a Vaishnava. If one acts without understanding strong and weak, or the different levels of a Vaishnava, then one will be responsible for making a serious mistake. When Swalpabala and Bahubala Vaishnavas are present, it is one's duty to worship the Bahubala first, followed by those of a common potency. And so I thought very relevant to this topic is an article by my Param Gurudev, Nityalila Pravishya Shishimad Bhakti Pragyan Keśava Gosvāmī Mahārāja. It's my favorite article, one of my favorite, all-time favorite articles. It's called One Must Correctly Identify a Vaishnava. I've read it here a couple times before, but I thought since it's so relevant to this topic, we can read it again. It's one of those articles that I think we should just read over and over and over again. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do right now. And then maybe we'll have enough time at the end to read the third section. We'll see. Let's see how we do with time. And Haribol, Gokuleshwari Didi, and Archana Mataji. Haribol. All right. One second. I had to turn on, I'm wearing my headphones listening to nature sounds because there was noise going on outside that was distracting me. Somebody was watching the news and I couldn't focus. That's why I have these headphones in. Okay. Where am I looking for? Here, let's open up a new window. If anybody wants this article that we're reading right now, it's on my website, vineofdevotion.com. And where is it? It should be in the Rays of the Harmonist section. Here it is. One must correctly identify a Vaishnava. This article. I also made a good quality recording of it. Like I would practice each sentence first one time and then record myself saying it. And that recording is right here if you wanna, yeah. Okay. So some misconceptions. Some misconceptions. The mercy of Sri Guru and the Vaishnavas is the one and only means by which a jiva can attain the ultimate goal of life. Only by their mercy is it possible for him to obtain the merciful sidelong glance of the most compassionate Sri Bhagavan. This we have heard repeatedly. We have also heard that the mercy of Sri Guru and the Vaishnavas is causeless. It is never brought about by anything of this world, nor by the impersonal, undifferentiated state of any such thing. We fail to grasp the nature of that mercy as independent of any material cause, and therefore we often ascribe imagined characteristics to it. We may think that there is no need for us to serve with resolute determination and careful ardent endeavor. We can simply continue following our own fancies, and by the grace of Sri Guru and the Vaishnavas, our cherished desires will one day suddenly come true. We may even think that to earnestly apply oneself in devotional service is but another expression of the mood to enjoy and a whimsical pursuit. Alternatively, we may imagine that bound jivas like us can realize our cherished desires independently, without the mercy of sadhus and Sri Guru. Those who hold such opinions are unable to understand that the mercy of sadhus and the jiva's intense desire to serve are one and the same. Their deceitful words reveal that they are not truly yearning with a heart full of remorse to receive the mercy of sadhus. Haribol Vaiṣṇava Prabhu. Why identify the level of a Vaishnav? Why identify the level of a Vaishnav? The Mahārājas, great realized souls, have explained the method to obtain the mercy of the Vaishnavas. And maybe we'll sing this at the end. But Jai Jai, no, the whole song. It's Kabe Mui Vaishnava Chinibo Hari Hari. Jai Jai no Vaishnava Chiniya Lohiya Adara Kori Bojabe. Vaishnaver Kripa Jahe Sarva Siddhi Avashya Pai Botabe. Avashya Pai Botabe. One who has become qualified to discern the level of eligibility, the adhikar, of those who have taken to the path of devotion, and to thereby differentiate between the Kanishta Bhakta, the novice devotee, the Madhyam Bhakta, the intermediate devotee, and the Uttam Bhakta, advanced devotee. That person is, when they're able to differentiate between these three, that person is duty bound to honor those three types of Vaishnavas appropriately. This is the meaning of the words Jai Jaino Vaishnav. Other than a translation, I just realized. So Jai Jaino Vaishnav Chiniya Loya Adar Koribo Jabe. So Jabe, when one is able to understand, they recognize who is what type of Vaishnav, and they honor, they adar, they give honor accordingly. Then Vaishnaver Kripa, then by the Vaishnav's mercy, by which all perfection is attained, they'll certainly attain the Vaishnav's mercy, by which avashya pai botabe. Then certainly they will attain the Vaishnav's mercy, by which all perfection is attained. When we're able to recognize who is what type of Vaishnav and then honor them accordingly. It is improper to honor a Kanishta Adhikari in a way that befits only an Uttam Adhikari, or to deal with a Madhyam Adhikari as if he were a Kanishta Adhikari. Only when we respect Vaishnavas in a manner befitting their respective qualification can we become free from knowingly or unknowingly committing Vaishnav aparad. So actually, even if you like, if you treat a Kanishta, if you honor a Kanishta Adhikari in a way that befits only an Uttam Adhikari, that's also an offense, because then you're putting him on an equal level with those who are Uttam Adhikaris. Then it's like, then it's an offense to the actual Uttam Adhikaris, right? So, yeah. Okay, so therefore the ability to, so only then can we realize the transcendental, only when we respect Vaishnavas in a manner befitting their respective qualification can we become free from knowingly or unknowingly committing Vaishnava aparad. Only then can we realize the transcendental, merciful form of the Vaishnavas, which bestows all desired perfection. Therefore, the ability to correctly identify a Vaishnav is indispensable. Simply by doing so, we are automatically filled with honor and affection for him. And he gives an example. Upon recognizing your brother, you are at once overcome by brotherly affection that is incomparably sweet. So when you recognize a Vaishnav, then you're filled with Like that, just like when you recognize your brother, you're filled with brotherly affection. When you recognize a Vaishnava, you're filled with honor and affection automatically. Our exclusive aim is to be able to recognize a Vaishnava and consider him our property, our own dear well-wisher, and to develop an affectionate bond with him. This is such an important point here. It is insufficient merely to dwell on how much the Vaishnavas love us or consider us to be their own. And lots of times you'll hear people like in their glorifications of their guru, and like they'll say, oh, my Gurudev loved me so much, and they'll tell stories about that shows how much the Gurudev loves them. But no, we shouldn't just dwell on how much the Vaishnavas love us and consider us to be our own. This is because the personal satisfaction that comes from thinking we are loved by the Vaishnavas is nothing but an external symptom of the desire for sense gratification, which lurks in the deepest region of our hearts. If instead we begin to measure how much we have become bound in affection to the Vaishnavas, it indicates that we are on our way to attaining the very perfection of all desires. So we need to measure how much we have become bound in affection to the Vaishnavas. Not just how much the Vaishnava loves me, but how much have I become bound in affection to the Vaishnavas. When we measure that, then it indicates that we are on our way to attaining the very perfection of all desires. Until we can identify Vaishnavas and develop an intimacy with them in which we regard them as our bosom friends, we will be unable to realize the true nature of their affection for us. Until we can identify Vaishnavas and then develop an intimacy with them in which we regard them as our bosom friends. Until that point, then we'll be unable to realize the true nature of their affection for us. Divine and mundane qualities. Haribol Rase Shri Mataji. Okay. But before we can begin identifying Vaishnavas or developing close affection for them, there are many issues we need to examine first. While trying to classify a Vaishnava, we will discern from the mundane perspective many fine qualities in him, just as we will also chance to see his faults. Commonly, we are attracted by a Vaishnava's modesty, by the Vaishnava's affection, their natural forbearance, and generosity. We tend to assess someone's eligibility as a Vaishnava solely by noting these virtues, which attract us and arouse in us a semblance of affection for him. It is important and appropriate for us to analyze and reflect upon the nature of these external virtues. By doing so, we can determine whether or not we actually have darshan of a Vaishnava by observing such qualities in him, and as a result, becoming attached to him and showing him honor. So yeah, it's not bad that we reflect upon the nature of these so-called external virtues, even though it's not external, because no, it's not. It's external, but it's connected to something internal, and that's what makes it powerful. That's what. Yeah, he'll explain it now. Sorry. But a Vaishnava should be identified and honored on the basis of his Vaishnavata, or the quality that best defines a Vaishnava. What is the Vaishnava's Vaishnavata? What is that quality that makes him a Vaishnava? This quality is the Vaishnava's exclusive dedication to the service of Sri Vishnu. And it is this that comprises his real nature. If we want to identify a Vaishnava, we need simply measure how dedicated he is to serving Vishnu. Srila Kaviraj Goswami Prabhu has listed the 26 qualities of a Vaishnava, among which the intrinsic characteristic, the Sarup Lakshan, or the defining quality, is exclusive surrender to Śrī Kṛṣṇa, Krishnaika Sharana. The remaining 25 qualities manifest under the shelter of this primary characteristic and further enhance its sweetness. These qualities will surely be present in Vaishnavas, along with their Vaishnavata, or hallmark exclusive surrender to Śrī Kṛṣṇa. One cannot find a Vaishnav who is not gentle and well-behaved. However, these virtues develop according to the strength of his Vaishnavata. The point here, and so there's, like, he just mentioned, my Param Gurudev, he just mentioned a few qualities, right? Like, what? Modesty, affection, natural forbearance, generosity, and all these other different types of qualities. So there's those qualities that are mundane understanding of these qualities, and like there's the mundane modesty, mundane affection, mundane natural forbearance, mundane generosity. But then there's the modesty, affection, natural forbearance, generosity, and so many other qualities that are based on the Vaishnavas, that is coming from the Vaishnavas' exclusive surrender to Śrī Kṛṣṇa. And so that's an entirely different thing. There's from these qualities that we know, like as we know them. He'll explain more. He says, the point here is that in enumerating these different qualities, Srila Kaviraj Goswami is not referring to our usual conception of them. From our mundane perspective, we may also detect the qualities of a Vaishnav that are listed by Srila Kaviraj Goswami in persons who are not Vaishnavas, such as the followers of Varnashram Dharma. In truth, however, it is impossible for a non-Vaishnav to possess the qualities of a Vaishnav. Whatever is synonymous with the word Vaikuntha, which denotes the abode of the Supreme Lord, is not limited, temporary, and gross like the objects of this world. So there's Vaikuntha, Vaikuntha generosity, and Vaikuntha humility, and Vaikuntha this and that, And then there's the material world version of generosity, and material world version of forbearance, and all these qualities. But and everything in the transcendental world is on an equal level. We read that in a different article. So anyhow, whatever is synonymous with the word Vaikuntha, which denotes the abode of the Supreme Lord, is not limited, temporary, and gross like the objects of this world. But everything else indicated by the words of this world is entirely worthless. Therefore, only extremely superficial observers will think that the qualities of a Vaishnav can also be found in non-Vaishnavs. For instance, Srila Kaviraj Goswami has listed magnanimity, vadanyata, as a Vaishnav quality. An ordinary person can be magnanimous according to the conventional meaning, according to the agya rudi vritti of the word. But this adjective cannot be applied to anyone except a Vaishnav when it is given its truest and most profound sense, the vidvat rudi vritti. Our misguided vision. But who will look out for the superlative quality of a Vaishnav, his exclusive surrender to Krishna? Only he who has realized its supremacy. In other words, only that person who has himself developed a service attitude will appreciate the importance of honoring this defining characteristic of a Vaishnav. Only to he who is surrendered without duplicity are all the virtues of a Vaishnav revealed in their true aspect. So nobody can claim to actually be able to have any understanding of any quality in a Vaishnav until that person himself is fully surrendered, exclusively surrendered, and has become a Vaishnav himself. Until that point, any quality that we see in a Vaishnava is just our mundane interpretation of that quality, right? Only to he who is surrendered without duplicity are all the virtues of a Vaishnava revealed in their true aspect. Such a person alone beholds the transcendental and extraordinary qualities of a Vaishnava without likening them to mundane qualities and thus inviting offenses. But we are devoid of a service attitude, and therefore we cannot comprehend the secret of recognizing a Vaishnava by his Vaishnavata, by that quality of his exclusive surrender to Krishna. All too often, we are attracted by a Vaishnava's other qualities, like his ample affection. We praise his patience, his tolerance, and other external virtues. But we should bear in mind that a Vaishnava's qualities are not objects for our sense gratification. We should bear in mind that a Vaishnava's qualities are not objects for our sense gratification. If the qualities I detect in a Vaishnava, like affection and patience, do not inspire me to engage in the service of Sri Vishnu and the Vaishnavas, and do not lead me to become attracted to his Vaishnavata, then it should be understood that I have been unable to see their true aspect. In other words, I have simply been trying to satisfy my senses. Wow. So if these different qualities, like the Vaishnav's affection, their patience, if it's not inspire me to engage in the service of Sri Vishnu and the Vaishnavas, then I can understand that actually I've been unable to see these qualities, and I've just been, it's just been trying to satisfy my senses. So yeah, somebody says, "Oh, Gurudev loves me so much," and like that, but the person is not feeling a drive to become completely surrendered. Then that means that those appreciation of those qualities was just meant to satisfy the person's senses. Because if it's not, then that means that it will be impelling us to serve, become completely surrendered and serve Krishna. All the qualities of a Vaishnava are certainly present in every Vaishnava. If, according to our material vision, we conclude that Śrīla Krishnadas Kaviraj Gosvāmī Prabhu was a poet, but that Sri Shivananda Sen or Sri Govinda, the servant of Sriman Mahaprabhu, were not all that poetic. So if we think that, then we have not properly understood the Vaishnava's quality of being poetic, his kavitva, which is one of the 25 qualities. It's one of the last ones, right? It's the poetic. But we think, yeah. Rather, by considering Śrīla Kaviraj Goswami to be an ordinary author, we merely see in him a rare and exceptional material talent, the gift of poetry. Those with material intelligence are unable to judge a Vaishnava. They're unable to judge a Vaishnava by his exclusive surrender to Śrī Krishna, Krishnaika Sharan. They consider him an ordinary person and end up seeing his faults and assessing his Vaishnavata by looking at what is merely a semblance of his virtues. They just see the shadow of his virtues, of his qualities. They don't actually see the real qualities. So they see it through their own filter, their own. When they see the grave disposition of a particular Vaishnava, they will liken it to the gravity of a common man and praise him, considering this virtue to be the sole benchmark of his Vaishnavata. But if another Vaishnava conceals his gravity, they will not consider him to be a Vaishnava. Or even if they do, they will say that he is not as grave as that first Vaishnava. Their words are as meaningless as a statement, a stone container made of gold. Like we glorify Nityananda Prabhu as being akroda paramananda. He is never angry and always blissful. But then we see pastimes of Nityananda Prabhu becoming very angry with Shivananda Sen, right? Didn't he try to kick Shivananda Sen? Or he did kick Shivananda Sen. And so then, oh wait, that doesn't seem like there's few pastimes of Nityananda Prabhu showing great anger. So then if we say, oh well, Nityananda was not always akroda, then we haven't understood that quality. I begin my journey to hell by being envious of a Vaishnav, seeing in him the semblance of faults which are unpleasant to my senses. And I suffer equally by being affectionate to a Vaishnav upon seeing in him the semblance of good qualities which are pleasing to my senses. Huh, that's interesting, huh? I begin my journey to hell by being envious, seeing in him the semblance of faults which are unpleasant to my senses, but I suffer equally by being affectionate to a Vaishnava upon seeing in him the semblance of good qualities which are pleasing to my senses. Anytime when, yeah. In both cases, my vision is limited to the mundane realm, and I am not fortunate enough to be able to recognize the transcendental Vaishnav. Hence, in trying to find a Vaishnav, we should not simply end up selecting someone who possesses mundane qualities or who is devoid of them. A concern. The Mahājans have stated, Vaiṣṇava chinite nare dever shakati. It is impossible even for the demigods to properly identify a Vaishnav. This may lead me to wonder how I, a helpless and feeble being who is ignorant and foolish, can ever hope to recognize a Vaishnav. Not even the demigods are able to properly identify a Vaishnav. So how can I, a feeble being who is ignorant and foolish, how is there any hope of me being able to recognize a Vaishnav? How will I be able to understand his Vaishnavata? As long as I remain ignorant of Sambandha Tattva, the principle of one's relationship with Śrī Kṛṣṇa, and continue to lack faith in the mercy of the Vaishnavas, I will be subject to various types of misgivings and be deprived of this mercy. One Vaishnav has given a very beautiful and remarkably logical answer to this question. I love this. He says, it is indeed true, he said, that the demigods themselves are unable to recognize a Vaishnav. But why should this be cause for concern? The emperor may be unable to recognize my mother, but that will hardly prevent me from being able to recognize her, even if I were but a tiny baby. I love this. When I was an infant, I did not understand what relationship my mother had with me, nor was I able to realize her deep love and affection for me. Although I was ignorant, it does not follow that my mother was not my mother at that time, or that I was deprived of her affection. I always remained related to her and did not forego her maternal affection, despite being unable to understand who she is. Nourished by her love, I have now attained adulthood and am able to appreciate how she is related to me and what maternal affection is. During infancy, I did not understand my mother. Therefore, I could not realize the sweetness of her affection, although she showered me with it. But I have now grown into an adult through her love and nurturing. By her affection and mercy, I am now able to realize who she is and have now developed a feeling of possessiveness, a feeling of mamata towards her. When the practicing devotee attains madhyam adhikar, he is able to ascertain the eligibility of a Vaishnav and show him due affection. Only then is he able to receive the mercy of the Vaishnavas. It is also by the mercy of the Vaishnavas that one reaches the Madhyam stage. Indeed, their mercy is at play at all times. Only by the compassion of the Vaishnavas does the jiva who is averse to Bhagavan and full of anarthas develop the tendency to chant the holy name of Bhagavan in the Kanishta level. But the Kanishta Adhikari is unable to realize this, and this is what makes him a Kanishta devotee. The Vaishnavas shower their mercy upon the Kanishta Adhikari without his even knowing it. And this mercy covertly and imperceptibly elevates him to the Madhyam level. Then, only by the mercy of the Vaishnavas does he develop the ability to discern what level of Vaishnava is on and offer him due respect. We do not need to create our relationship with the Vaishnavas, for it is eternal. Our objective is simply to realize that relationship. And this is possible only by the strength of their mercy. Why then should we have any concern about being unable to identify Vaishnavas? And this is nearly the end of the article. While I was reading these two paragraphs, there was somebody in my room doing something right in front of me, and it was distracting. And these two paragraphs are so important. So I just want to reread them. I hope you don't mind. When the practicing devotee attains Madhyam Adhikar, he is able to ascertain the eligibility of a Vaishnav and show him due affection. Only then is he able to receive the mercy of the Vaishnavas. It is also by the mercy of the Vaishnavas that one reaches the Madhyam stage. Indeed, their mercy is at play at all times. So when are we able to really receive the mercy of the Vaishnavas? Is when we come to the stage of Madhyam Adhikar. Then we have more capacity, we have more ability to actually receive their mercy. But even when we haven't reached that Madhyam stage, their mercy is bringing us to that Madhyam level. Indeed, their mercy is at play at all times. Only by the compassion of the Vaishnavas does the jiva who is averse to Bhagavan and full of anarthas develop the tendency to chant the holy name of Bhagavan in the Kanishta level. So we're completely dependent on the mercy of the Vaishnavas to be able to chant Harinam when we're in this Kanishta level. But the Kanishta Adhikari is unable to realize this, and this is what makes him a Kanishta devotee. The Vaishnavas shower their mercy upon the Kanishta Adhikari without his knowing it, and this mercy covertly and imperceptibly elevates him to the Madhyam level. Then, only by the mercy of the Vaishnavas does he develop the ability to discern what level of Vaishnava is on and offer him due respect. Because only a Madhyam Vaishnava is able to actually discern the level of a Vaishnava and offer him due respect. We do not need to create our relationship with the Vaishnavas, for it is eternal. Our objective is simply to realize that relationship. And this is possible only by the strength of their mercy. Why then should we have any concern about being unable to identify Vaishnavas? Have we really made the Vaishnavas our own? The degree to which I've been able to make a Vaishnava my property and honor him can be measured by one criteria only: how indifferent or apathetic I've become towards non-Vaishnavas, realizing that they have no relation with me. Unless one is wholly indifferent towards non-Vaishnavas, that is, has no relationship with them at all, one has no hope of ever developing a sense of kinship with the Vaishnavas. And this doesn't mean, this means by the heart. It doesn't mean that we all of a sudden become really like rude and cold and shut everybody else who's not a Vaishnava off. But our heart affection, our deep affection for somebody, like that, it's referring to that. So like when one is wholly indifferent towards non-Vaishnavas, that is, has no relationship with them at all, one has no hope of ever developing a sense of kinship with the Vaishnavas. Unless one is wholly indifferent towards non-Vaishnavas, that is, has no relationship with them at all, one has no hope of ever developing a sense of kinship with the Vaishnavas. Our conviction that the Vaishnavas belong to us, develops in proportion to our feeling that non-Vaishnavas are outsiders. This is not mere talk. If I really wish to be related to the Vaishnavas, I must first renounce my attachment to non-Vaishnavas. If my mother, father, brothers, friends, and so-called close relatives become hostile to the service of the Vaishnavas and to the Supreme Conscious Entity, then I will have to become wholly indifferent to them, regarding them as unrelated to me in any true sense. This includes my very own body and mind. Wow. This includes my very own body and mind, not just my relatives and brothers, friends, so like that, my mother, father, but even my very own body and mind. Until I attain such determination, to think of the Vaishnavas as my property is nothing but deceit. A person cannot have possessiveness towards or kinship with the Vaishnavas while considering non-Vaishnavas to be related to him. The two are mutually contradictory. Just like in the same way, uh, we can't have attachment to material objects and attachment to Krishna at the same time. Like to the degree that our attachment to Krishna increases, then our attachment to material things decreases. It goes like that. It's not like they can both increase at the same time. Srila Gosvāmī speaks about that a lot. Yeah. So same thing. We can't have genuine attachments to Vaishnavas and have genuine attachments to, like, it's the same kind of thing, the proportion thing. Yeah. So it's now 7:53. Not so much time left. Maybe we can just finish reading what we read yesterday from here, because it's not so much left of that, and then that will take up the rest of the time. Yes, Archana Mataji. Yes.
So when we talk about Kanishta Adhikaris, we always say that Ishvare tad adhineshu balisheshu dvishashtu. So that one. Then we say.
Well, that one's for Madhyam Adhikaris. That one that you just said.
And Kanishta Adhikari is what? Is
Archayam eva haraye pujamya shraddhaye yate na tad bhakteshu chanyeshu sa bhakta prakrita smrita.
So isn't this like something, if we recognize a Vaishnava and he is not compassionate, and so we do not we disregard him and we say that he is not a Vaishnava. So that Vaishnava, if he is only Archayam eva hare, that is, he is only Vishnu, he's a very ardent devotee of Vishnu, but he is not compassionate or not, he doesn't show other qualities of Vaishnava.
Like he doesn't know how to behave with Vaishnavas, like he doesn't know how to properly honor Vaishnavas. Yeah. But he has devotion for Thakurji and like that. He performs Archan and all that. Yeah.
How is this compared to what we just read about a devotee who is very dedicated to Vishnu, but he is not showing his material qualities like what are the 4 things you read? I forgot. I cannot remember them.
Yeah, but being tolerant and meek and humble. I don't know. Like there's all these different qualities. There's 25, right? Like 25 external qualities mentioned, right?
Yeah. Especially the qualities of compassion and kindness, and we talk to other, like he's supposedly a great Vaishnava, but then when he talks with lower Vaishnavas like us, then we expect him to be a little merciful and understanding. But if not, then how do we see? We should see the way he is such a wonderful devotee of Vishnu. But what about his other qualities? We should not focus on that. Is that what it means? I was a little confused. That's why I'm asking.
Okay, I don't have like a great answer like always. I'm just gonna say whatever comes to my mind. But and if anybody has
that will
any
be
other,
fine. I would.
And if anybody, but so until we ourselves have surrendered, until we become to the degree that we become surrendered, to that degree we'll be able to understand that quality of exclusive surrender in devotees. And so right now, I might see somebody, to me, they seem like they're fully exclusively Krishna Kasharan, right? They're exclusively surrendered to Krishna and they're doing everything. And so then I'm not even able to recognize that quality of somebody surrendered to Krishna because I'm not surrendered. And so I can be deceived. I can think, wow, this person is fully engaged in service and chanting and all that, while actually it's all just external and there's something else in that person's heart. And um, so then all those qualities that that person might exhibit, like um, their their uh, their forbearance, their humility, their generosity, their um, all these different qualities, their not becoming angry, their all these different things. I might think that those are all based on that quality of exclusive surrender to Vishnu. That's like those are transcendental qualities, and then I'll think, well, we're not supposed to see. Sometimes they manifest these qualities, and sometimes they don't manifest these qualities. But actually, no, it was all actually material. All those qualities of that person were material, anyways. Um, and so there's nothing that I can do to be able to truly identify and recognize these qualities in a Vaishnava until I myself become a Vaishnava, like until I come to that stage of Madhyam. Um, and
So this article is not for us, or
it
we
is
are
for
just
us, totally for us. But it's to teach us that we shouldn't like
we
that
should wait
we have
for
to understand that
Guru.
we have to not deceive ourselves, like thinking that I've understood it, um, these
I've
qualities
identified
and
a
like that.
Vaishnava.
Yeah, yeah.
So we
And
should
I don't
not
know. I find,
think wrongly. We should not think wrongly that we have identified a Vaishnava and put him into a bracket or something like that. Is it that?
but at the same time, yeah, yeah.
Accused.
But at the same
Sorry.
time, I really love that example of like even though some of us like we might be unable because we haven't gotten to that stage of Madhyam Adhikar, we might not be able to recognize a Vaishnava. Still, there's something when we do come in contact with a true Vaishnav, and there's something, even though we're ignorant of all these things, there's something deeper, like some connection that is very real and tangible. And like just like a baby doesn't know anything at all. Baby's completely ignorant. But there's this deep connection with the mother that and so even though the baby doesn't realize how much anything about the baby's not able to recognize the glories of the mother or how much the mother loves him and all these things, takes it all for granted and everything. But that knowledge of baby's relationship with the mother is completely clear. There's no confusion on the baby's
Yes,
part that
yeah.
this is my
That's a
mother.
wonderful example.
And so and so with the Vaishnavas, even though we might not be able to fully appreciate their true qualities and be able to appreciate the how everything's based off of this exclusive surrender to Krishna, still we understand my relationship with the Vaishnavas. And eventually, as by with the Vaishnavas' mercy, we'll be able to mature and become and as we mature, then we'll be able to realize their glories more and more and more and appreciate them more and more and more on the true level. And so, yeah.
Okay, that was very nice. Wonderful, bro. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Very well. Yeah. I okay. I'm
Hmm.
just seeing
Hare Krishna
Vidyalasya Didi.
Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Yes,
Hare Krishna
Nandirani Didi.
Prabhuji.
Yes.
There is one question from me. Prabhuji, I want to ask you that if there was a sentence where it was written, if we uh, own a Kanishta Adhikari, mm, mm, not according to his stage, we do aparad in the lotus feet of Uttam Adhikari. So,
Hmm.
how is that? Please also
So,
explain that.
because then you are, um, okay, like let's just say I'm just trying to think of an example. If if Srila Prabhupada walked into a room, he's standing here in front of me, And then there's just some very immature, just some person who's not very developed and not, a Kanishta Adhikari, just some random person, who isn't very developed. And then I offer a flower to Srila Prabhupada's feet, and then I offer a flower to that person's feet. Is that not disrespectful to Srila Prabhupada? Like it's like you're like bringing Srila Prabhupada down to that person's level, like putting them on an equal level. Um, and so then that's
Yes,
that's
I got.
that's an offense. Yeah.
Prabhuji, when our Shri Gurudev is standing and other God brothers are also standing, so should we offer dandvat to them also or not? We are offering dandvats to Gurudev, and should we offer dandvats to other Vaishnavas, which actually serving Gurudev, uh, other
Hmm.
our the God brothers? So is it okay or is it a
Yeah. So like when we're in front of Thakurji, be like when we do Tulsi Parikrama, and then at the end of Tulsi Parikrama, we offer pranams to Tulsi Devi, and then we offer pranams to the Vaishnavas. But before we offer pranams to the Vaishnavas, we shut the curtains because you're not supposed to give honor to, like, you're not supposed to offer pranam to anybody in front of Thakurji unless it's your own Gurudev. That's the rule, right? In the scriptures. And so, in the same way, if you're in front of your guru, you shouldn't offer pranam to another Vaishnava. That's my understanding. It's like the same principle, but that doesn't mean that you don't honor them. And we honor, but yeah, there's like that appropriate. I don't know. That's just what I thought. Yeah, but it's important to understand all these subtle things, like how to uh, deal appropriately in all different circumstances like that.
Okay?
Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
And just like on that point that I mentioned before, like if wouldn't it be an offense if we took Srila Prabhupada's pranam mantra and we just changed the name Swami in it to a person who is a Kanishta Vaishnava? Then that's also an offense to Srila Prabhupada. So we need to know how to appropriately deal with Kanishta Adhikaris as well. Of course, we could always stay on the safe side and give honor to everybody and like that. It doesn't mean that we should also treat, actually, with Kanishta Adhikaris also, we're supposed to honor them within the mind, right? And in Upadeshamrita, it says that. So we honor everybody, but then how much, to what degree that's the thing. Gokuleshwari Didi just wrote a comment. She said, "This is an amazing article. Thank you so much for reading this for us. I really liked this part of the article." Okay, she says, "I begin my journey to hell by being envious of a Vaishnav, seeing in him the semblance of faults which are unpleasant to my senses." So it's not his faults, it's the semblance of faults. It's what I perceive to be faults, which are unpleasant to my senses. And I suffer equally by being affectionate to a Vaishnav upon seeing in him the semblance of good qualities, which are pleasing to my senses. In both cases, my vision is limited to the mundane. Yeah, it's such an important point, that one. Yeah, such an important point. We just, at least we should be aware that everything that I'm seeing is through like I have glasses on, like colored glasses, and everything's being filtered through that. And so I'm not actually, we have to understand that I'm not perceiving the so-called qualities and faults in the true sense. And that only until I become completely surrendered and I rise to the level of madhyam, until that point, everything that I see, all the qualities and so-called faults that I see will be colored by my own filter and won't be the real thing. Yeah. Vidyalala Siddhiti says, what Archana Mataji is saying reminds me of Daksha Prajapati. He was exclusively devoted to Lord Vishnu, but he couldn't honor Lord Shiva. So how do we understand the example of Daksha Prajapati? Yeah, doesn't Krishna say, what is that? Not aham bhakta paradhino yasvatanta ivadvija. That's no, but what is the verse? Not that bhakti. No. What's the verse that Krishna says that somebody who is my devotee is not really dear to me, but somebody who is a devotee of my devotee is actually dear to me? Yeah. Prajñāna was saying, what about gurus and other Gaudiya institutions who many consider elevated, but who blasphemes our Guru Varga? Well, yeah, if anybody, we can honor Vaishnavas in any Gaudiya institutions, in any group, we honor all Vaishnavas, but if they're blaspheming our Guru Varga, then I don't think we'd consider them to really be a genuine Vaishnav. Doesn't mean that they need to be completely the same and everything, but if they're blaspheming, that's a whole other thing. But it's also important to not get absorbed in blaspheming blasphemers. We just, okay, I'm not going there. You don't even need to think about people like that. Yeah. In a minute, I'm just in the middle of this. All right, so are there any other points that anybody wants to mention? If not, then we'll end our reading for today. Okay, so tomorrow we will continue reading Śrī Kṛṣṇa Bhajanāmṛtam. I think we'll probably finish the book in either 2 days. We'll finish it in 2 days. Oh, and today is Śrīla Bhaktivinoda Ṭhākura Mahārāja's appearance day, and I should have started reading about him right after. I just forgot. But if you go to vcvani.com, vishuddhachaitanyavani.com, vcvani.com, you can see the Harikatha from Śrīla Bhaktivinoda Ṭhākura about his glories. So, all right, Dandavat pranams. I'll just do a short Mahamantra and end. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Haribo, Nitai Gaur, Haribo, Nitai Gaur, Haribo, 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 Haribo. Oh my God, you are right. It is Ramanujacharya's appearance day today. Oh, I just somehow I guess I forgot to add that in the calendar. Oops, my mistake. I will. All right, I'll just do a short Jayadwani and then okay. Jai Shachinandan Gaur Hari Ki Jai Shishi. If it's actually, anyways, Sundar Gopal sent me something nice about Ramanujacharya. Maybe I could read it at the end if anybody wants to stay longer. Okay. Jai Shri Sachinandan Gaur Hari Ki Jai, Shri Radha-Vinod Bihari Ju Ki Jai, Shri Govinda Gopinath Maran Mohan Ju Ki Jai, Jai Nitya Jai Srila Gurudev Ki Jai, Srila Param Gurudev Ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Shri Rupanu Gauriya Guru Varga Ki Jai, Swapasha Shri Gaur Nityananda Prabhu Ki Jai, Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopigan Ki Jai, Shri Giriraj Maharaj Ki Jai, Shri Tulsi Maharani Vrinda Devi Ki Jai, Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai, Jai Shri Narahari Sarakāra Ṭhākura ki Jai, Śrī Kṛṣṇa Bhajanāmṛtam ki Jai, Jai Śrīla Sajjana Bhaktivinoda Ṭhākura ki Jai. His commentary on that ki Jai. Jai Śrīla Nityalila Pravisha Śrīla Bhakti Hridaya Bhan Gosvāmī Mahārāja ki Jai. Tadīr Shubha Avirbhav Titi ki Jai. Jai Nityalila Pravisha Jai Shri Ramanujacharya ki Jai. Tadīr Shubha Avirbhav Titi ki Jai. Jai Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki Jai. Samagata Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki Jai. Shri Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari. Vrindai Tulsi Devai Priyai Keśava Krishna Bhakti Pradadevi Satyavatai Namo Namaha Vancha Kalpatarubhyashta Kripa Sindhu Bhyayevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Dandavat pranams, dear devotees, Archana Mataji, Gokuleshwari Didi, Prajñāna Prabhu, Mantarmurti Mataji, Rukmini Didi, Nandirani Didi, and on YouTube and Facebook, Vidyalala Sadidi, Rohini Nandan Prabhu, Vanksiwala Prabhu, Raseshwari Mataji, Meena Podel, Shash Sharmaji, Ganga Mataji, and everybody else. Indira Mataji, whoever else is there. Dandavat Pranams. Thank you so much for joining. All right. Let's see. I'm just seeing how long this thing is that I got from Sundar Gopal Prabhu about Ramanujacharya. And if anybody needs to go, Dandavat Pranams. Thank you so much for joining. And if anybody wants to stay longer, well, I'm first going to see how long this thing is that he sent me. Okay, I'm just copying it. Oh, it looks, let's see how many words it is. It looks a little long. Actually, I don't think I can read it. Here, wow, it's very long. I think this is the chapter from the Characharya book, my Gurudev. Yeah, no, it's too long, but here, I'm just putting it on a Word doc to see the word count. It is 6,000 words. Yikes, that would be even longer than a full reading. Okay. I'll just show you what it is though, just so you can see. And I think I could share it around if anybody wants to read it, but this is the philosophical elaboration of Sri Ramanuja's tradition, its upasana and core Vishishtadvaita philosophy. This is written by my Śrīla Gurudev, Śrīla Bhaktivinoda Ṭhākura Gosvāmī Mahārāja. And so it goes through all these different things. I think this is a chapter from the Characharya book. Doctrine of Sri Ramanuja in essence. The three fundamental principles of Vishishtadvaita. Oh man, I wish I would have noticed this on the calendar. I would have read this today. I mean, we could read it tomorrow, even though it's the day after. I don't know. Because I've actually, that's been my personal study thing lately is I've been trying to, anyways. Okay. Thank you so much for joining. I'm not going to read that today. I'm just going to end for today. But Jai Ramanujacharya ki Jai.
Jai.
Yes.
His introduction to his Vedanta Sutra commentary already, just his introduction defeated Shankaracharya. Like if someone like looks at
Wow.
it, I would say that, I mean, so if someone wants to know how to do that, like if they need to do that, then that's a good one.
Even before he got into the actual thing, just the introduction, he already defeated Shankaracharya. That's great. Yeah, that's what I like. That's my personal study thing. I was writing my goals for what I want to do within this year, and that was one of them, was to understand Ramanujacharya and Madhvacharya, their teachings, and understand Vishishtadvaita and the philosophy and all that. That's like my personal study thing that I want to do. I'm not sure if anybody else is interested in doing that. If they are, then maybe we can share things with each other. All right. Haribol, Dandavat Pranams.
Reboot, Prabhuji.